the thing that was probably the most unexpected, and we're going to get right into the meat of the stuff that we want to talk about today, okay? I'm disappointed that I came to Canada, a Canada that it is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship, okay? You ran a campaign where, it was anti-American, elbows up.
Canada is in turmoil. Chrystia Freeland just stormed out of Mark Carney's cabinet, and the fallout is brutal. The US ambassador has already blasted Ottawa for its anti-American stunts, and Carney's reaction? Pure fury. This isn't diplomacy, it's a public meltdown. And as Canada unravels, Trump's strategy of building real strength with America suddenly looks sharper than ever. Let's break down how Canada's leadership is collapsing in real time, and why it just handed Trump an open lane.
It was an anti-American campaign. That has continued. That's disappointing. I talked to a lot of business people. They are passionate about the relationship because they recognize rebuilding ecosystems and rebuilding the kind of economic relationships that we have. As some people talk about, we'll go other places. It's kind of like, that's hard. Plus, this one works pretty well. We've created a lot of prosperity and wealth, high quality, high paying jobs by working together on both sides of the border. Like I said, I'm passionate for it. The business community is passionate for it, but they're not.
The US ambassador just said it out loud. He's disappointed in Canada. And you should be asking yourself why. The answer is simple. Under Mark Carney, Canada has turned openly hostile to American partnership, the very relationship that once fueled prosperity on both sides of the border. The ambassador didn't sugarcoat it. He called it an anti-American campaign. And is right. Carney chose politics over cooperation. The result? Fractured ties, a ruined economy, and a country that no longer sees the US as its ally. That's not by accident. It's leadership teaching Canadians that America is the enemy. And now the collapse is visible. Chrystia Freeland just quit, walking away from Canada's finances. What's her next move? Not fixing inflation, not helping struggling businesses, but tweeting from Kiev about AI projects. Canadians are drowning at home, while she's chasing photo ops abroad. Meanwhile, businesses and communities know the truth. Canada's lifeline is the US high-paying jobs and real prosperity exist because of American trade and investment. Carney can posture as a nationalist, but reality doesn't bend to his speeches. Without the US, Canada doesn't thrive. Period. Trump understood this better than anyone. He fought for American workers, demanded fair trade, and rebuilt respect at the table. Carney, his melting down, his rhetoric colliding with reality. And every time he explodes, Trump's America looks stronger than ever.
It was a silent goodbye for a Liberal Party giant.
You two have some news.
Chrystia Freeland not speaking with reporters, letting her statement do the talking. With tremendous gratitude and a little sadness, I have decided to step down from cabinet today and turn the page on this chapter in my life. The Prime Minister naming the proudly Ukrainian-Canadian Freeland as Canada's newly created special representative for the reconstruction of Ukraine.
I think that Chrystia is a great Canadian who broke a lot of barriers. She was our first female finance minister.
I, Chrystia Freeland.
While she intends to stay on as an MP, Freeland's departure from cabinet likely ends the political career of one of Canada's highest-profile politicians. Freeland's first big file, negotiating the...
Chrystia Freeland just slipped out the back door. No cameras, no tough questions. Just a short statement and silence. That tells you everything. This wasn't a victory lap. This was surrender. She walked away from cabinet on the very day she was supposed to present Canada's full economic statement. Think about that. The country needed answers, and instead, the finance minister quit. That's not leadership. That's giving up under pressure. Freeland was once a Liberal star. She broke barriers, sure. But her legacy? Massive deficits, crushing inflation, and tone-deaf advice like cancel Disney Plus to deal with rising costs. That wasn't a plan. That was mockery of ordinary Canadians struggling to get by, and now? She's being shipped off to Ukraine as a special representative. Don't be fooled. That's not a promotion, it's exile. Trudeau wants her out of the way. The timing proves it. Hours before unveiling Canada's financial roadmap, she abandoned ship. If you'd run the country's finances into the ground, would you hold a parade? Would you stand for photos? No. You'd sneak out the back door and hope nobody noticed. That's exactly what Chrystia Freeland.
Canadian Minister and Member of Parliament has announced that she will be stepping down from Prime Minister Mark Carney's cabinet to serve as Canada's special envoy to Ukraine. Making the announcement, she said that she will not be running in the next federal election. In an online statement, Freeland said, "With tremendous gratitude and a little sadness, I have decided to step down from cabinet today and turn the page on this chapter in my life. I do not intend to run in the next federal election." And shortly after, the Canadian Prime Minister announced that Freeland will become Canada's special...
Let's not forget Freeland's biggest test, NAFTA. She was the face of Canada's so-called tough stance against Donald Trump. How did that work out? Trump called out Canada's tactics as hostile and unprofessional, and he was right. Freeland's grandstanding nearly blew up the most important trade agreement Canada depends on. In Trump's America. She got put in her place real quick. The US walked away with a better deal for its workers. Canada stumbled out weaker. That's Freeland's real record. Even at home, she became a lightning rod. Every failure stuck to her name: ballooning deficits, reckless spending, weak economic leadership. It defined her tenure. And when she tried to position herself as Trudeau's replacement, total collapse. She pulled just 8% of the vote, crushed by none other than Mark Carney. That says it all. Even the Liberal base rejected.
CETA led Freeland to an even bigger deal, NAFTA. Months of tough negotiations caught Donald Trump's eye.
We're very unhappy with the negotiations and the negotiating style of Canada. We don't like their representative very much.
Ontario's Conservative Premier became close with Freeland during NAFTA.
I talk to her almost daily, bi-daily, and she's a good person, and she'll do a great job over in Ukraine.
Justin Trudeau promoted Freeland to Deputy Prime Minister and eventually Finance Minister, overseeing massive deficits during COVID and inflation, giving a unique suggestion for Canadians on how to deal with the high cost of living.
I said to the kids, "You're older now, you don't want to watch Disney anymore. Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription."
Freeland, often a lightning rod for the opposition, was the minister most associated with the Trudeau era, but she eventually helped push him out the door, resigning from cabinet just hours before she was supposed to table the fall economic statement in December. She ran to replace her old boss as Liberal leader, but managed only 8% of the vote, getting crushed by Mark Carney.
Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about Chrystia Freeland. It's about the state of Canada itself. Its leaders are collapsing one by one. Freeland walked away humiliated, and Mark Carney is left standing as the so-called savior. But don't mistake that for strength. His victory wasn't earned. It was desperation. He inherited a broken party, wrecked by years of mismanagement, and now pretends he can fix it by doubling down on anti-American rhetoric. No wonder the US ambassador is frustrated. Canada's elite would rather score cheap political points than build real prosperity with the United States. Trump warned about this dynamic years ago. He knew Canada's leadership was more interested in posturing, flirting with Beijing, looking tough against Washington, than actually delivering results. He exposed it during the NAFTA talks. And today, he's being proven right again. So what's happening now? Freeland's career is finished. Canada's government is fractured. And Carney is left screaming from the ruins, trying to hold power while America watches. That's why the ambassador is blunt. Canada has abandoned passion for its most important relationship. Business leaders whisper it in private, but politicians like Carney push hostility in public. And here's the truth. America doesn't need Canada. We don't. Trump showed that we can negotiate hard, protect our workers, and call out weak leadership without apology. Canada's collapse isn't just a story of mismanagement. It's proof that Trump was right all along.
Ambassador to Canada was on the defensive in Halifax, accusing Canada of playing hardball when it comes to trade talks. Pete Hoekstra repeatedly told the Halifax Chamber of Commerce that Canada has it wrong, saying this isn't a trade war, but merely negotiations.
The cabinet's now saying that we're at war with America. That doesn't help. Okay? That doesn't help. An American opinion. Okay, maybe in Canada saying we're at war, maybe that's something that Canadians stand up and say, yes, 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 okay, we have an enemy. I don't think so. I know a little bit about Canada.
Hoekstra warned calling it a war is misleading and dangerous.
No, we're not at war. If the president thought he was at war with Canada, you'd see a whole different kind of relationship.
Ambassador just cut through the nonsense. He told Canadians straight, this is not a war. It's trade negotiations. But what does Carney's cabinet do? Run around screaming, We're at war with America. That's reckless. That's dangerous. And it shows just how desperate Canada's leadership has become. They can't win at the table, so they inflate the rhetoric at home to distract their own people. Think about it. The ambassador spelled it out. If President Trump actually thought America was at war with Canada, it wouldn't look like this. You'd see real consequences, not polite talks. Trump doesn't play games with language. He knows the difference between negotiation and combat. Canada, you don't want to experience the latter. Instead, Canadian politicians puff their chests, talk tough, and meanwhile businesses and workers are getting crushed under tariffs and uncertainty. And here's the kicker. Now they're encouraging boycotts of US products. Don't buy American alcohol. Don't travel south. That's their big plan. Punish their own people by cutting them off from their biggest market and closest neighbor. Meanwhile, Americans aren't stooping that low. We're not boycotting Canada. We're negotiating, securing better deals, and moving forward, with or without them. That's the difference between Trump's America and Carney's Canada. One is strategic. The other is petty. And who pays the price? Small businesses. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says uncertainty is killing them. They are begging provinces for relief. There's a $200 million contingency fund just sitting there. But even that is stuck in limbo. Nova Scotia's finance minister won't even answer basic questions. That's not leadership. That's evasion. And it proves the point. While Trump creates clarity by standing firm, Canada's politicians are creating chaos by hiding from responsibility.
He then took aim at politicians who've called for Canadians to boycott U.S. travel and American products like alcohol, suggesting Americans aren't stooping to that level.
We don't say don't go to Canada.
But while politicians argue over words, small businesses are feeling the impact. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says tariffs and trade talks are leading to economic uncertainty, and they call on Nova Scotia to dip into its $200 million tariff contingency fund.
But we just have no clarity on what the province is going to do with that fund here, and we do need clarity. That would add certainty. We know of small businesses who could tap into funds, and they need those supports, and it's on the province to really give a clear answer on this.
The province's finance minister, John Lohr, wouldn't answer questions regarding the contingency fund or what impact tariffs are having on the economy, promising instead to answer those questions on Monday at a fiscal update. Jesse Thomas, CTV News.
Ask yourself this: who really benefits from this so-called war narrative? Not Canadian families. Not Canadian workers. The only one cashing in is Mark Carney, because it lets him play the role of Canada's defender against big, bad America. But let's be honest, that's a script, not a strategy. And the US ambassador just tore it apart in front of business leaders. Here's the truth. Canada's been in crisis mode for a long time because its leaders chase headlines instead of solutions. They shout about war with America while businesses crumble and families suffer. That's not strength. It's weakness dressed up as nationalism. Trump never blurred the line. He fought hard, redefined NAFTA, and secured real wins for American workers, all while keeping trade alive. That's the difference. America under Trump was disciplined and strong. Canada under Carney is losing ground every single day. And that's all from me today here at Zone Media Network. I'm Greg, your host. Make sure to check out American Zone for the latest US news. You'll see me there too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Who do you think should replace Mark Carney? Take care, and I'll see you next time.